Elliot Colburn.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and can I join the Home Secretary and colleagues in sending my condolences to the friends and family of Sarah Everard. But this bill does deliver on our manifesto commitment, the one that I stood on in Carshalton and Wallington and many others, to toughen up sentences for the most dangerous criminals and reform the criminal justice system. Of the many welcome measures contained within this bill, I want to particularly welcome measures such as extending whole life orders for the premeditated murder of a child and ending early automatic release of dangerous criminals, which will keep the perpetrators of the most heinous crimes off of our streets. I know that my constituents will also welcome, from the countless times I've been told that the criminal justice system is too lenient, the tougher sentences for the most dangerous criminals, the introduction of life sentences for killer drivers, doubling the maximum sentence for assaulting an emergency worker, and the introduction of case law to better protect victims and witnesses in cases of violent and sexual offences. And it's because of the campaigning efforts of those victims and their families that I'll be supporting this bill. I know many colleagues like me would have met and heard stories of grieving families from their own constituencies, angry at what they've seen as a lenient sentence. I remember reading one story just last year of a young man who tragically lost his life in Carshalton after being hit by a driver who was later arrested on suspicion of being drunk behind the wheel. This bill will ensure that cases like this, will make sure that in cases like this, the punishment fits the crime. Additionally, I know that residents across the London Borough of Sutton will particularly welcome criminalising trespass and strengthening powers to tackle unauthorised encampments. Only recently, Carshalton and Wallington residents were incredibly frustrated when an encampment jumped from local park to local park, causing harm, disruption and distress as they went. Yet progress on removing these encampments was incredibly slow because of the limitations around the existing law, and these measures will make it much easier to deal with that. So this bill does deliver on a manifesto commitment. So I'm dismayed that members from across the house, on the opposite side of the house, are finding ways to try and oppose these important measures. The wording on this in this bill is complemented by case law and clearly defined principles that are being put onto the statute book at the request of the Independent Law Commission. It is there to stop the scenes of, like we saw last year, of protesters blocking ambulances, not to ban peaceful protests. So it's no good saying that members of the Labour Party or the Lib Dems agree with parts of this bill if they're not going to support the bill. We should be unapologetic in standing up for victims of crime and their families, combined with the efforts that the government are already taking to put more police on our streets and work on prevention. So for that reason, I'll be supporting this bill tomorrow.